Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Navarro, certified wellbeing expert, working with educational institutions and companies, helping them support their family wellbeing challenges. And every week I interview different experts who make a difference. And today I'm super excited to be interviewing Desi. Hi, Desi. How are you doing?
Hi, Jasmine. It's great to be here.
Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes, so I am a certified leadership coach and I specialize in helping teams and leaders to navigate complex change.
Amazing. And we'll just dive straight into the topic because we haven't got that much time today. So you chose this amazing topic, from victim to empowered, how to change your mindset. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what it means for you?
Yeah. So I often find that as humans, we get stuck in our heads, and the way that we think about challenges has a lot to do with our mindsets. And so when we have a mindset that doesn't serve like a victim mindset, that holds us back from making sustainable change over the long term.
Exactly. So definitely. And I've had a few comments and questions already before. So I know it's a really hot topic. But so can you just tell us a little bit about what a victim mindset is and what an empowered mindset is?
Yeah, so let's start with the definition of mindset first of all. So your mindset is the prism through which you see the world. It is what colors your perception and your experience of everything that happens. And so our mindset creates our thoughts. Our thoughts in turn create our emotions, and our emotions create our behavior. And that behavior reinforces our mindset. So it's like a cycle. If we take the example of a victim mindset might produce thoughts like, this always happens to me, what have I done wrong? And then from these thoughts might come emotions such as feeling angry, resentful, and from these emotions might come behavior which is untypical really for us. Um, so kind of lashing out or not being able to really connect with others. And that reinforces the mindset of, yes, I knew it, I'm a victim. So that's kind of a vicious cycle. If we
Yeah.
and we're able to work through that and move to, for example, an empowered mindset, or another mindset that serves, this empowered mindset might give different thoughts. For example, I am in control of a lot of things in my life, and there's a lot of things that I can choose. What are they? And we focus on those. From these thoughts come very different feelings of strength and feeling in control and being empowered and being fulfilled because we are focusing on things that we can do something about. And from these emotions, then comes a different behavior, which is we take ownership, we move forward with confidence, we engage with others better. And that reinforces our mindset of, well, I knew it, I am empowered.
Amazing. All sounds very, very nice. So how do we, and I just want to say hi to everyone who's joining. If you have any questions, please let us know, or comments. So I mean, it's quite easy to be in the victim mindset. I mean, I know I've been in that victim mindset before. I mean, a lot. Until I had therapy and coaching, I managed to sort of get out of it. So what would you say to people watching now who say, but things always do happen to me? You know, I have bad luck, or what would you say to those people now? And maybe, yeah, what would you say to them? Where do they start?
Yeah. And it's completely understandable that when you see over and over again that on a certain topic you're stuck and the same things keep happening to you, it's absolutely normal to feel that way. We all do. Um, the first place I would start would be to ask, how might I be contributing to this?
Mm.
So, my personal belief is that when we have recurring patterns in our life, we are contributing partially to those things. Of course, there's random chance and all of that, but we do have a role to play. And that's not to blame ourselves and to say it's all my fault, I'm a terrible person, but rather to say, how am I playing an active role in what is happening? Because that empowers us to say, well, if I'm an active player in this, well, I can change something and I can change this pattern and outcome. So that's the first place I would start.
I love that as well. I love a couple of things you said about yeah, it's not about blaming yourself or being horrible to yourself or being hard on yourself, is it? Because that, for having a victim mindset, because that doesn't help anyway. That just sends you down into a downward spiral. So it's like, but recognizing that actually I'm not powerless. I can do something about it. So I loved what you said. I really did love what you said. We've actually got a question already. So hi, Sarah, how are you doing? She says, what are some common signs that someone might be trapped in a victim mindset? Someone might be trapped, sorry. Oh dear. Someone might be trapped in a victim mentality without realizing it.
Thank you, Sarah. It's a great question. We are very often not aware of our mindset unless we are trained that way. And of course, as coaches, we always talk about mindset, so we're a bit more aware. I would say that pick up on the external cues, right? If there's a repeating pattern and it's not serving you, or you keep noticing that people tend to respond in a specific way, these are external cues. It's probably something about the mindset. Or if you find yourself behaving in a way that then you regret later or you don't like, again, that's a sign from the body. There's probably something that I'm thinking in a specific way if this keeps repeating. So that's the first.
Yeah, and that's hard. To get to that awareness can be quite, I mean, of course, it's much easier if you're having coaching therapy, but if you're not, you might just think, well, I'm not doing anything and things just keep happening. But then I guess, yeah, you might be thinking, oh, things keep happening. So I guess that's an awareness as well, isn't it? Even noticing that things are happening.
Yeah, I mean, the key here, and you're right, it's difficult to notice. That's the most difficult part. So for those listening who think, oh, wow, I'm never aware of that, it's okay. If you focus on being aware and you ask yourself things like, what am I contributing? What might I be thinking that's not helping me? Or what negative thoughts am I thinking about this topic? These are good ways to bring awareness. But I always find it easiest to work with a real situation that's repeating, and then ask yourself questions around that situation. So it's not theoretical, but practical.
Amazing. Hi, Rosie. Rosie says hi. This is on Instagram because we've got a few people watching on Instagram. Okay, we've got another question coming through from Matthew. Hi, Matthew. How are you doing? I think you sort of, well, no. Okay, what role do past experiences play in keeping people in a victim mindset?
Okay, so what I would say here, notice the language. Past experiences keeping, let's say, me in a victim mindset. Already that's a very victim mindset thought, right? Because who is in control here? The past experience. And so, of course, we all have traumatic experiences and difficulties that our brain goes back to. And the first step would be for you to rewrite that phrase. So I would think something along the lines of, how am I thinking about my past experience that is keeping me stuck?
Oh, I like that. Love that question. Yeah. It's so important, isn't it? The questions you ask yourself. So important. I love it. Oh, the light's flickering here. Yeah, sorry. Carry on, Desi. Carry on, Desi. Sorry.
Desi. Yeah, I mean, that's the first thing. But also language, paying attention to the language that you have in your head and what you hear. So I should, I shouldn't, I always, this always, and then the passive voice. This always happens to me. They always talk down at me. This is passive voice. So this can be indicative of, am I victim here? It does not mean that nobody else is responsible, that we exonerate everything else, and that they're not horrible circumstances. We're not saying that. However, we cannot change other people and things that happen to us. But where I'm pointing you to in the empowered mindset is, well, what within the situation do I have a say in? What can I choose? What can I control or influence? And that's already making you feel much lighter and much better.
Amazing, amazing. It's so important, the words we say to ourselves. We don't realize, do we, how much of a profound effect they have on us. But we've got another question. This is more about the empowered mindset. So from Robert. Hi, Robert. What are some daily habits that help reinforce an empowered mindset?
Love it. I love the practicality. So daily habits, one of the maybe most fun habits is choosing your mindset in the morning, right? Just like you would set an intention, waking up and saying, okay, I've got this really difficult meeting at work. What mindset or frame of mind would I like to have? In addition to that, what energy would I like to project? Or how would I like to think about myself in this meeting? Am I an expert in this meeting? Am I a facilitator? What is my role? So these are empowering things to think about if you were to think about your day or about a specific challenging experience that you are anticipating.
Oh, brilliant. So it's again what you're saying to yourself. Be mindful about what you're saying to yourself. No, I love exactly what you're saying. So I think the key thing that you're saying here is how you speak to yourself.
Yes, the way we speak to ourselves defines our experience of life, and it defines our self-worth. A great way, Jasmine, to think about that is, what am I saying in my head? And would I say this to my friend?
Yeah.
If my sister
Absolutely.
came to me with this mess that she has made, would I be as critical and awful to her as I am to myself? And I think often we say things to ourselves that not out of compassion and just humanity dare say to other people.
No, definitely. And what impact do you think it has on your life? Either living with a victim mindset or an empowered mindset. How does it change your life?
For me, it's transformational. I will give a very brief example from my life.
Yes.
I went through cancer 7 years ago, and of course, at first, my mindset was victim. Why me? I was jealous. I was angry about everybody else continuing their life happily, and me suffering for no apparent reason. And that was very destructive. I was not acting myself. And then when I thought about this journey requires all my energy. And I couldn't afford to siphon off energy into bad thoughts. And so I worked on my mindset. And when I shifted that mindset to empowered, I felt like a new person. Obviously, when you have surgeries and chemotherapy, you can feel like a patient, but that was in the victim mindset. When I chose the empowered mindset and practiced that, I made a list of all the things that I have a say on. What do I eat? What do I spend time with? Do I work, etc.? And being a chooser of my life, I was no longer a helpless patient going to get treatment. I was a designer of my life.
Wow.
And this was the most fulfilling, strangely, this was the most fulfilling time of my life. And I would never go back to it. But it was fulfilling because I was at choice and I had an empowered mindset.
No, thank you for sharing that with us. And I definitely would love to do another live with you. We can talk more about that because it's such a powerful topic. But no, I love what you said about writing a list about what you can control, because it could be easy to think or say, think about the things you're in control of. And I think sometimes when you're in that mindset, you can could be overwhelmed or feeling powerless, especially if you're in the victim mindset. So I think that's such a good, easy technique to just write down a list. What actually can I control in this moment? And I think you'll realize there's actually quite a few things you can control. Yeah.
Yes. What can I control? Also, another word, what can I choose? And another iteration is what is working. So going back to my example with the illness.
Yes.
It's a moment where you feel nothing is working, right? And you face death. But then when I sat down to write, what is every function and part of my body which is actually working properly? My eyes, my mouth, my fingers, my legs. most of my body was functioning properly. There were just a
Wow.
couple of cells that were in a specific area that were causing problems. But it was an overwhelming realization of, oh, yes, pretty much everything is functioning well. Okay, I don't have hair and whatever, but everything else, I'm breathing, my lungs are working, my heart is working, I can walk
Wow.
places, I can still talk. So there is so much more that works than doesn't work.
Wow, that's so powerful. Because when you said what is working, I automatically thought what is working in my life, but actually you can talk about what is actually working in my body. Yeah, it's all. Yeah, I think extremely, extremely powerful what you're saying. Just those few questions itself themselves can just shift your mindset. Yeah, because
Yes, go
because
ahead.
no, because I was going to say, when you asked yourself those questions and you realized, there were a lot of things working in your body, things like that. What happened then? Did you start seeing things differently and feel differently?
Yes, I was no longer a patient. I was no longer sick. I was either fine or healing, which are very different from saying I'm a patient and I'm ill. Um,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
it was, there was a few other exercises which I did attached to these, like positive affirmations, etc., and gratitude, which I believe firmly contributed to making this journey lighter, um, more bearable. And I have also linked, because I tracked everything that I did and the effects. I did see that the side effects of chemo, for example, which should be getting worse over time, were getting easier for me to bear.
Wow.
So
That's incredible.
I saw a clear correlation between what I was saying to myself and what I was paying attention to and what I was experiencing in my body. And for me, medicine is very important. I would always go the medical track, and also I would go the mindset track as well.
Yeah, because it's like, why not? Why not? Why the hell not? When you think about it, do everything that you can. It's always a combination of things. Yeah, but
Yes, and I do believe that it's more difficult when you don't work on mindsets. I believed and
yeah.
told myself that this horrible thing pumping into my vein is wonderful and helping me, instead of
Mm,
this is going to make me
yeah.
feel really bad for a good week right now. So
Mm,
even for that, I used to tell myself, this is liberating medication. This is
wow.
elixir.
I love that. Oh, there's so much more I want to ask you, but we're going to have to finish in a minute because of the time. But we have to definitely have another conversation. But those 3 questions, can you, what is working? What can I choose? Can you put those on the post? Because I think they're absolutely amazing questions. So for other people to, for somewhere to start for other people. And also, before we go, is there one more thing that you would like to say, like a message you want to leave others with? I mean, you have said some profound things already, but just before we go, like, is there one quick thing you want to tell everybody if they're feeling, why me?
Yeah. I would summarize everything I've shared and everything I talk about as change begins with your mindset. You change
Mm.
your mindset, you can change your life and your work.
Wow, I love that. It's so powerful. Thank you so much, Desi. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm so sorry we have to cut it now. Yeah, we have to have another conversation. But for anybody who's been watching or you're just joining now, if you have any questions about this topic, please message Desi or leave a question on the post, and myself or Desi will get back to you. And yeah, and thank you so much, Desi. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and I will see you next week.
Thank you, and thanks for the patience.